now, dragging a big-time warm-up. Temperatures nearly 15 degrees above average. I have your full forecast. It's coming up.
Some renters in D.C. told to remove their pride decorations. And when they don't...
No, he took it all down.
Yeah, he's still taking them down.
What's going on?
Why the owners tore them down in a story you'll only see on DC News Now.
Dozens of food trucks towed, several others given citations.
Yeah, now that I know that, I would be much more careful.
The crackdown along the National Mall on unlicensed vendors.
When your school has scored a major accomplishment, you command some attention. The elementary school that got a summer send-off from the Burgundy and Gold.
Paying for college without drowning in debt. We're helping you stretch your dollar with creative ways to earn a degree.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Susan Tran. Let's take a live look outside right now as we are heating up as we take a live look at the Kennedy Center there. It is just a hazy bit of a night, and I don't know if I'm just imagining it or that Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb has been warning about the haze that we are set to see.
Yeah, we've seen it all day throughout the DMV, Janessa.
Yeah, it kind of limited the sunshine that we saw this afternoon. And so we only hit 80 degrees, and it was due to not being able to get kind of that full heating effect because of that haze. Tomorrow is so much of the same, but we are going to see a bit of a warm up. I mean, 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. And so we've been below average for the last couple of weeks. And so this will be a nice little treat across the region. 70 right now out towards Luray, out towards Woodstock into lower 70s, 68 for Waldorf into Calvert County, and 73 across eastern Maryland. High pressure, very quiet pattern, not much happening. This does not reflect the haze that you're seeing. That's a whole different kind of layer, and satellite does not pick up on that. Here's a squall line that's super impressive from St. Louis all the way to KC, parts of Chi-Town as well as Milwaukee. They're dealing with severe conditions. But that will not head our way going into tomorrow. Overnight lows, they're comfortable as well. There's a little bit of a wind flow that's trying to stir up across the region, and that'll be something that we're watching. Winds coming out of the south, that is going to be helpful for the warm up that we'll see tomorrow. More on that forecast coming up.
All right, Janessa, only on DC News Now. The district all done up for World Pride with rainbow bunting and banners really everywhere.
But there's conflict and confusion at an apartment building where renters say they got a reprieve to keep their decorations only to see them ripped down. DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg live for us near U Street there in Northwest.
All right, Daniel, so good evening. Tell us exactly what happened here.
Yeah, Chris and Susan, the renters here decided they wanted to put up these decorations, and the management company hours later said that they had to take them down because of a provision in the lease. Now take a look right here. They did leave up this display of rainbow lights, but you can see right here there is just a pile of the Pride decorations that were here. After we reached out to the management company, they said they could keep these things up through Monday as a compromise, but the building is owned by Walker Memorial Church, which is right next door here. Tonight at 7:20, the church's custodian walked over and cut down the decorations that extended from the front door to the fence and along the fence. Jay Richards, who lives upstairs here, took this video and says he and the other two women who live in the building were excited about the decorations. He says it's important to celebrate who he is and the community at large, especially when many people in the LGBTQ community are under attack. Richards says he wants to be a good neighbor, but tonight he's upset.
It was somewhat resolved. The management company said that they weren't going to take action. They said that we could leave it up till Monday, which they didn't tell us in person, but by email, and now it's all ripped down. We've been really friendly with the custodian himself, and I just feel awful. I feel awful for him. I mean, I guess he had to do his job, but it was just awful to see.
Now, Richards said they also put up these American flags in the ground along with the Pride decorations. Those American flags were kept in the ground despite everything else being ripped down. We did reach out to the church multiple times for comment, but have not heard back. We're live in Northwest. Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
All right, Daniel, thank you. Over in Northern Virginia, Pride Month is starting in Arlington County with the raising of the Pride flag, but the bright colors, they continued onto the street outside the government center, where volunteers have been working on a mural called the Eye of Pride. Lisa Marie Fellhammer started this project 2 weeks ago, but the recent rain days meant that it was a few more days until the painting will be all done.
We just want folks to feel comfortable staying visible, staying out, letting their colors shine.
Lisa Marie has also helped to create 3 other murals for Pride over in the district. A Navy ship named in honor of a gay rights icon, Harvey Milk, is now being renamed in a highly Defense Pete Hegseth has ordered the change. Milk was a California lawmaker and Navy veteran who served during the Korean War. He was assassinated back in 1978. The new name of the ship is expected to be announced later this month.
And developing now at 9 in Prince George's County, 2 men shot inside an apartment in Suitland. One man died at the scene there in Regency Park Court. The other man, we're told, is in critical condition tonight at a hospital. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. And new details out of the district. A man who was shot multiple times in Northeast last night has died. Police say they found Khalil Brown unconscious on Rom Street in the Trinidad neighborhood. He also died at the hospital. So far, no arrests have been made.
New tonight, there is an ethics complaint filed against D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. A watchdog group is looking to see if a trip to a conference in Dubai back in 2023 was an illegal gift. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust says it is a nonpartisan ethics watchdog and wants to look into if Qatar, the neighboring country to the United Arab Emirates, paid nearly $62,000 for the mayor's trip there to Dubai, and if the mayor accepted this as an illegal gift. We have reached out to the mayor's office. They declined to comment.
All new tonight, dozens of unlicensed food trucks towed near the National Mall. The city is touting it as a big step for safety in downtown D.C. DC News Now's Max Marcilla joining us live tonight on the National Mall. And Max, you spoke with a licensed food truck owner who says he's really never seen anything quite like this crackdown.
Yeah, and Chris, he's thrilled that the crackdown happened because the city says there were a number of trucks that could have dodged safety or health or potentially both as far as, guidelines they have to follow. Again, that food truck owner we spoke with says he hasn't seen anything like this in the more than a decade he's been selling food out of his truck here.
Along Independence Avenue, it's really easy to grab a meal or a cold treat out of a food truck.
Well, I just assumed that everyone was legal and that they were licensed to be there.
Unfortunately, for a long time, it's also been easy to get that snack from an unlicensed food truck, but that could be changing.
There were a lot of unlicensed food truck operators who were creating pollution, blocking walkways, endangering pedestrians, parking illegally, and really making it unsafe for customers at the mall.
These are photos from a Friday crackdown. It took several federal and district agencies, but they towed 32 unlicensed food trucks and handed out dozens of citations.
He just closed the road, and every food truck had an officer car agency on next to each truck.
A big-time help for licensed food truck owners like Sam Juanice, who's run Mexicana Grill for more than a decade.
If you want to work in DC, you got to have your license and you got to get all your stuff together.
But beyond limiting unlawful competition for regulated businesses like Juanice's, the district says there's a safety measure to this. After all, in order to get your license, you have to pass health inspections and stay up to fire code.
Propane and open flames, those can be very dangerous for consumers, and we've seen that on the mall a few times where food trucks have caught fire.
Now tonight, district officials telling us the roughly 100 food trucks that are licensed, well, they do have to show their prices. It's not necessarily part of getting that license, but it is something that they're cracking down on. They say that showing your prices and being transparent about your prices is required, and if you find that a business, a food truck, does not do that, they're urging you to reach out to them and file an official complaint. Reporting live in Southwest, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
DC News Now is your local election headquarters. Polls have now closed for the special election in Prince George's County.
Voters are picking the next county executive there who will finish out Angela Alsobrooks' term when she won the Senate seat last November. The race is between Democrat Aisha Braveboy, who's the current state's attorney, and Republican Jonathan White, who is an Air Force veteran. Voters are also electing the next council member for District 5.
And we, of course, will have the election results as soon as they come out. You can always find the latest on the election on our website, dcnewsnow.com. In Virginia, we now know when the special election will be held to fill Congressman Jerry Connolly's seat. The longtime lawmaker died last month from cancer. That special election will be held September 9th. Deadline to file as a candidate is July 11th. The 11th district covers much of Fairfax County and has long been a Democratic stronghold. FFXNow.com reports 8 Democrats and 2 Republicans intend to run for that seat.